So in this presentation, I prepared this with Maria from the University of Strasbourg, and she will be presenting an example of a game created in the LoCALL app. Well, just starting with something that you already know, the fact that linguistic landscapes are all around us, including different things, not only the visual part, but also the sounds and the smells in our physical surroundings. And the fact that linguistic landscapes, although they are not, they do not have an educational goal per se, they can be used as a pedagogical tool to promote awareness of language and linguistic diversity, to foster multimodal learning experiences, text-to-world connections, develop critical thinking skills. Really, through linguistic landscapes, teachers can really successfully bridge the indoor and the outdoor environments, creating meaningful learning experiences for their students. Well, so far, traditional ways of exploring linguistic landscapes have been just taking photographs of the linguistic landscape. You can see this in the modules, the city, the school, in the home, then completing observation grids, identifying, counting, comparing languages, or reading maps, then interpreting the geographic coordinates to reach different points of interest where there are important examples of linguistic landscapes, or writing reports or personal opinion essays after reflection and debates on why there are certain languages there and why there are others who are missing, or drawing and crafting imagined or real linguistic landscapes. So these are some of the ideas that are also explored in the modules. But considering the pervasive role that mobile technologies are having in education, it is also not surprising to see that apps are entering and also relating to linguistic landscapes. But before LoCALL, we basically had software that allows users to explore the distribution of languages in the linguistic landscapes by linking images to their geographical location, and then you can add some descriptors according to a predefined framework, for instance, how many the languages that are there, the percentage, etc., such as LinguistMap or Linkscape. After LoCALL, we have the LoCALL app. So the LoCALL app is this educational resource, and it's really an invitation for pupils, for teachers, for users who may be tourists, to read and explore linguistic landscapes. And this is something that is different while playing a multiple choice question game. Also, something that is different from other apps is that the LoCALL app allows pupils not only to document linguistic and discover linguistic landscape as other apps already do, but to co-create these games together with their teachers in an online platform and according to this project-based learning approach. So students are really involved in the creation of their own games in the app by using a platform to do this. So the LoCALL app has basically two platforms, or includes these two things: the web platform, where students have their computers and they can create routes and several points of interest associated with linguistic landscapes. They can build questions about the points of interest and answer options and feedback. And this is really important because by adding and thinking about the feedback that they want to include in the points of interest, they are really exploring beyond what is out there, but also relating it to other content areas such as history or geography, and really finding more information and reflecting about things. And then you have the app itself that you use in your mobile phones, and which is available on Google Play and App Store, and where users can really play the games that are created for a given route. So the app is available in English and in the languages of the LoCALL project partners, and all games can be freely accessed by everyone. So you don't have to pay to access those games. You just have to download the app on Google Play and App Store. You just have to, as you do with other apps, you just write the name and Google Play or App Store, and the LoCALL app pops up with our very friendly turtle, Lang. Yeah, here is Lang, a very friendly turtle. Okay, so how does this work? So now I'm going to show you a video that we did for a conference, which is probably spoken in a rush because we have 3 minutes. So it's a little bit rush, but I'm going to share this video with you that explains a bit of how we can create the games in the LoCALL app and in the web platform. So I'm going to share sound, and here, let me see if I can pop this here, because it's open the resources on web page, and I have to put this one. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put here in full screen so that you can all see the video. In this video, we present you the LoCALL app, an educational resource to read and explore linguistic landscapes. These are visible signs of multilingualism that pervade our everyday lives and include commercial shop signs, advertising billboards, but also colors and sounds. Based on research on the potential of linguistic landscapes to foster language awareness and critical thinking, a group of researchers of 5 European universities started the LoCALL project, which aims to propose new methods and collaborative learning tools to explore linguistic landscapes. The LoCALL app is one of the outputs of the project and was conceived by the University of Aveiro with the support of the multimedia and design company Siemushyna. We will show you how it works. In a private area of our web platform, teachers and students can create content for the app. As an example, we show you the teacher's view. First, you need to create a point of interest. Give it a name, and then a location in the map. Then you can create a question about that point of interest. Adding photos, audio, or video files. You also need to add the correct and incorrect answers to the question, and provide feedback. You can create more than one question for the same point of interest. To create a game, you have to select the different points of interest to form a path in a map. To play a game, download the app from Google Play or App Store. In the home screen, you can see our mascot Lang welcoming you. Choose the language you prefer, and then click on Play. You can now choose the partner city or event of the project, and then the game you want to play. Read the instructions carefully and click on Start. You can now see the map of Jerusalem with the 3 points of interest. Read the instruction to find the first point of interest, and you can start playing this multiple choice question game. Read the question and choose the most appropriate answer. After choosing an option and you receive feedback, keep on playing until you reach the end of the game. If you want to know more about the LoCALL project and the LoCALL app, please visit our website and YouTube channel. Thank you. Okay, so that was it. A very hush-hush presentation of the LoCALL app and the LoCALL platform. But I think that you got more or less the idea of how it works. So you have to do everything in the computer, and then you can put it on the app and then play it, and everyone has access to what you have on the app. And you don't have to register. We don't collect any personal data if you're afraid of that. So, so far we have many games in many languages and in many different cities. So we have games in Portuguese, in English, and Catalan, in Dutch, Frisian, Spanish, English, French, and they are associated with one of the partner cities. But we also have games that have been produced during the training weeks that we have of the local project. For instance, during the training week that we organized in Aveiro in 2021, we have produced all of these games. So these are games that are not related to a particular, some of them are related to a particular city, but most of them are related to the cities where the participants came from. So you can make a virtual trip through different parts of the globe, which is quite interesting to see similarities and differences between different things. And this is the same what happened in the Training Week 2022, organized by Barcelona, where you have 2 paths so far, but I think that more are coming in, right? Related to, for example, the linguistic landscapes inside the university or traveling through different world cities. So sort of making the summary of what we have so far. So far, and coming, probably more games are coming. Soon we have 18 games in 8 languages. So besides the languages that are associated with the local project, we have games in Catalan and also in Frisian. And you have games that really explore more than 20 cities. And we have more than 15 registered schools, more than 100 registered users, and really over 100 downloads. And this is just for Google Play only. And they give you 100, and then they give you 10, 100, 1,000. So it's probably between 100 and 1,000 downloads on Google Play, which is quite good. And probably there are even more on App Store. So this is just a highlight of what we have so far produced with the LoCALL app. So now I think that I'll give the floor to Maria, who's going to present to us an example of one of these games that was produced by the Strasbourg team together with the Collège Henri Mack in Molsheim.
Okay, thank you very much. So can you maybe keep, yeah, thank you. So just a very few words about the place where this linguistic path was created. So the city of Molsheim is a small town which is situated about 30 kilometers from the from Strasbourg, and it is close to the French-German border. And this region around Strasbourg, which is called Alsace, maybe you have already heard about it. It has changed its belonging to France and Germany several times. So these are some important elements that can help also to further better understand the linguistic landscapes that we can find there. And it's also very important to say that I'm really happy and it's an honor to present these examples on behalf of this class of students who were only 12, 13 years old at the beginning of the activities with them, and who really, like, I had the impression of talking with almost with adults and with master students. They had really a very important level of reflection. So it's really a path that belongs to them and their teachers. Okay, thank you. So you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So in total, we had 7 points of interest with many questions. And for the first point of interest, we decided to start from the college itself. And it was really very important in order to value the engagement of students and teachers. And that's why this also the first question is about the number of languages that are spoken in the college. And it seems quite a usual statistic question, but what is important to see is all the work behind this question. So in order to create this question, students did first their own language biographies. They did also this history and migration stories you've heard before. And also they made an interview of about 100 people in the college and lycée, so in the upper school. And they interviewed the other students, teachers, also administrative staff from cafeteria. So it's really what a very whole school approach, and which came from the initiative of the students. And yeah, that is how they they created this question, and we just had a little bit some small regret that we could not put a little bit more information in the feedback about that, but we will see what is possible about that. Okay. Yeah, so another question is about Porte de Forgeron. I'm not sure how to say it in English. It's in one of the entries to the old part of the city. And on this table, the question is about historical events. And one of the question is which words are written only in English? Because when students try to analyze more in detail these writings, they realize that it's not an exact translation. So the work on this table encourage students, first of all, to pay attention to some elements of linguistic landscape that they don't necessarily notice in their everyday life, but which are just in front of their eyes. Also to compare different languages and therefore develop metalinguistic skills. So they could also discuss with the teacher of history and geography, and they also developed curiosity and some research on the history of their city, which they did on their own. Okay, next, please. Yeah. So this is another point of interest, which is not really a point, this more a location. There are many streets in the city center who have this double name. And so students created the question about if it's a translation of the street name or is it an old street name. And there was a very interesting discussion about this signs. So some students say that this sign is in French and then second language is German. It cannot be Alsatian language because Alsatian is only oral. And the other student answers that she's in a theater group and they do have text in Alsatian. So it also engages students not just to discuss about this science, but also to go to the history of the city and further on also to share sometimes their own experiences and knowledge. And it was really very interesting exchanges between students. And also in the feedback on the app, we put some questions for people to go further. So for example, we said them, have you noticed that these double street names are mostly only in the city center? Why is it so? So it encourages them to do additional research and also to attract the attention on the small phrases that you have on these tables, which explain in few words the history of the street. Okay. Yeah, thank you. And one more example. I'm sorry, so going maybe a little bit fast is also to leave a bit space for discussion afterwards, but we can go back to the slides if you would like to. So the next one is a small park, also in the cities, quite not far from the city center. And the question here is about the symbols of Alsace. So ask if there are storks, if these are writings on the signs, which are in some of them in Alsatian, or these are the small half-timbered houses. And there was also a very, very huge discussion as well among students and teachers, as also at different presentations of the past that we had. Most of people said that no, the storks, they're only Alsatian, and writings are only Alsatian, and timbered house, it's really Alsatian. So this was also this question to overcome some kind of stereotypes and say that we can also find these symbols in other countries. So it's also to bring the discussion from more local to a more global and international level. Okay. So now we can go next. Yeah, so maybe to conceptualize a little bit what I have said before, students can learn language-related, get the language-related knowledge and skills. So it can be incidental language learning, something that was not programmed. It was also awareness to languages and multiliteracy skills. They can also develop soft skills, like critical thinking, collaboration, and we really saw it quite a lot regarding the collaboration. It was one of the testimonies from students that beside the linguistic skills, they also had much closer contacts with other students, so they can also develop different attitudes and dispositions, and content and world knowledge. And before going to the next slide, I just said that in order to develop these skills, what we could see in our game creation is that in France, maybe also in other countries, very often the relationship between students and teachers is quite hierarchical. And in order to create basis for development of the skills, teachers also needed to give more space and more space for students to show what they can do. So this is also very important. Okay, so next slide, please. Yeah, so regarding the possible itinerary for other teachers and students who would like to do some same kind of activities, so you can start from just playing the existing games, but if you would like to engage more, so you can also follow and adapt this itinerary. So first of all, you can prepare the journey. So do the introduction to what is a linguistic landscape and language diversity, and you can do it in different means. You can also use a podcast and tutorials to have more ideas. So then you can use the app, select the point of interest, create the questions, test the game. And the next steps, which are also very important in order to improve the questions and make the game more pedagogical. So you can also reflect on what was created, lessons learned, the changes we could be seen in the linguistic landscapes, and then of course the dissemination of the results, which are also very important for students in order to value and their work and to motivate them to work. So sharing findings with the community, with videos, exhibition, newspaper. So in our case also we see that this was really very motivating for students when they could present the game they created not only to their friends but also to their families and to other people they knew. Okay. Can go next. Yeah, so and then if you would like to know more, so here also some few examples of publications, and you have also the links for the main tutorials.